I've got to say, this segment is one that I've been looking forward to all week, and we're bringing on the folks from Bose Pro. I mean, that's a heck of a name to come in. We've got John Meyer and Adam Schulman. Thanks for coming on, fellas.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Look, we're here to answer some questions, right? People have questions. Obviously, the Bose Pro name kind of stands alone now, and but before we get into that, talk to us a little bit about some of the things that have happened over the last year, right? People have some questions. What can people expect, and what should people know about the transition?
It's definitely the question of the day. Essentially, Bose Corporate decided to divest the Bose Professional brand and the division, essentially, which is a big deal, right? It's rare that a top 100 brand takes a chunk of the business and actually divests. So it's essentially been a long year and a half process, and fairly complicated to make that happen. But Bose Professional is now independent business, standalone business. It's owned by a private equity firm called Transom. But we're just super excited to be able to have a singular focus on the Bose Professional business now, not the whole entire thing and just being a small part of it.
And so now with that transition, and you're able to serve a range of different customers from smaller to enterprise size, is there anything that you've learned during that transition?
Well, yeah, I think the idea, again, of being very focused on the customer as opposed to having to sort of answer to a larger strategy across a much wider customer group. So luckily, Bose Professional has always been sort of its own animal within the larger Bose Corporation. So the products, the relationships with the channel, the solutions that we provided have always been very focused on that customer. But now we can, again, really singularly focus on it. So we're not paying attention as much to a power above us saying, well, you can do this and you can't do that. It's just definitely a more focused approach.
Well, and Adam, especially when you think about things like having more flexibility and direct verticalized focus, right? One of the places you guys serve incredibly well is House of Worship, right? But there's so many different verticals that the Bose Pro world gets to focus on now. Talk about some of those verticals specifically and where you're seeing success.
Yeah, so House of Worship, as you mentioned, is one of them. We're also incredibly strong in retail and restaurant, hospitality, corporate, and others as well. For us, as John said, it's about focus, and ultimately our user is, okay, yes, it is designed by a designer, installed by an installer, but our user is ultimately the end user. And so our job as a manufacturer is really for each of those verticals to get out of the way, essentially, to understand the end user's needs and enable them to operate their facility to do their job, which is not managing the technical systems. So we need to provide clear audio, clear video, and an easy user experience so that they can focus on their work.
Well, I want to follow up to that too. You talk about the end user, and I feel like I'm the end user guy on this stage all the time, but there is some level of familiarity, and I don't even know if brand affinity is the right word right now because Bose Pro is a separate entity. But how do you merge that brand affinity that you already have built up by bringing it into the Pro side?
Yeah, so I think the brand affinity is helpful kind of at the recognition level, right? That may help to open some doors because there is the affinity in the consumer space. But we ultimately need to, it only goes so far, sure, right? We need to actually be able to deliver on that. So yes, it's a strong brand in the consumer space, but if the experience of actually installing and using the system is poor, then it kind of means nothing. And so for us, yes, it's nice to have that recognition initially, but we actually have to follow through and deliver an experience that is commensurate with it.
And so with this transition, what can channel partners and end users expect to see from Bose Professional going forward?
As John said, a continued and I'd say renewed focus on not only the product and technology level, but also the solutions that we're providing for those end user markets. So I think even more of a focus on those core markets and delivering great tools for designers and installers, but also delivering great solutions for end users. So,
I think the other thing I'd say, sorry to interrupt, is it's kind of a dual story. One in that nothing changes, right? Bose Professional has been its own division, so our channel partners should expect the same customer service, the same great products. And we've actually partnered with Bose Corporate to have over a year-long transition so that we have a very natural effective transition. But at the same time, we're working super fast in the background on sort of reevaluating what can we change about the product roadmap that's coming, right? What can we do to fill out the product line to offer more solutions or better solutions? So it's kind of a no change on day one, but a lot of change coming that I think our channel partners will really look forward to.
Well, John, I want to ask too, kind of in that realm, right? Bose Pro historically has not had the massive SKU catalog of other manufacturers. Is that something that you're looking to double down on? Is that something you have more flexibility on now moving forward?
Well, I think we're going to focus on the core for us, and the core is that middle market of hospitality, retail, house of worship, higher education, corporate. Those sort of smaller to mid-sized systems where we've been kind of a number one choice for years. And it's about bolstering that. So again, staying focused, but bolstering those solutions. Long term, we have some other aspirations that we'll share later on. But for now,
you don't want to talk 4 years down the road today. You don't want to spill those beans.
Not in the technology world, no.
No sneak peek here.
Well, look, one of the things too, I think, and to go back a little bit to the end user kind of affinity and experience side, is that as you guys have historically developed products, they've been successful and simple, right? Simplicity has been the successful point. You know, you look at all-in-one devices, whether it's the VB1, which has been out for a number of years now, or ceiling array mics, things like that. Talk about how simplicity has played such an important factor into the product design process and will continue to.
Well, I'll start, but I think Adam can finish it. It really is, again, we think about not just our customer or distributor, but all the way down to who's designing the system, who's installing the system, who's using the system on a day-to-day basis. So we're trying to innovate across that entire spectrum, not just the product technology. And so that's kind of been a key part of it. Again, I'll let Adam sort of fill out in the blanks.
Yeah, and another element of the simplicity is also not just being good within a given application, but being good and easy to use across applications. So yes, we want to have a broad enough catalog to be able to provide a compelling solution, not only in the meeting room, but also in the public space, let's say, of the church, also in the sanctuary, and to be able to provide incremental benefit when those systems are being used across the whole facility, whether it's maybe a familiarity of operation or consistent sound quality or consistent support channels, that sort of thing. So for us, it's not only the ease of use within a given application, but also across, and what happens when you tie those together. And so when you look at an introduction like PowerShare X, which is a new line of amplifiers at this show, that's a building block that is at home across a variety of those applications. You can use it for our small commercial systems up to high power performance systems, but with a common interface, a common set of rules, common design process. So we need a big enough portfolio to be able to be compelling in all of those spaces, but not so big that it's confusing and hard to make the right choices.
Totally understand. This is a conversation we're going to continue to have, because as the Bose Pro brand evolves, it's going to really be able to serve customers in a really unique way. So looking forward to checking back in with you guys 3 months, 6 months next year at InfoComm, because I'm really, really excited about the future.
Yeah.
And I know, Amanda, if you're watching, I know you were at home sick. We love you. Get well soon. But we'll see you then. John, Adam, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it.